Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and now we've come to the Little Mermaid movies. Yes, of course, continuing on with the Little Mermaid week. Yes, so, yes, we've come to the Little Mermaid itself, the Disney, animated gem that this is, and this is what started the Disney Renaissance. I tell you, because, you know, what a true Disney animation gem this is. A masterpiece, you know, and one of Disney's top best animated films. And I'm not doing this alone. I've got with me my good friend, Elijah Goring.
Thanks, man. It's been an honor. And I haven't done a movie review for months now, and it's good to be back.
Yep, it is. So that's right. Both me and Elijah, we are reviewing The Little Mermaid that, you know, yeah, I guess you could say, it changed the industry of animation, and especially, you know, it helped Disney a lot, you know, with making animated films successful once again, you know, kind of starting off with, say, The Great Mouse Detective. The Disney Renaissance, I believe, was at a peak of The Great Mouse Detective. And after Oliver and Company, and with this, Little Mermaid, yeah, that's when the Disney Renaissance began. So I'll, of course, read the story and the description. In Disney's beguiling, I hope I said that right, animated romp, a rebellious 16-year-old mermaid, Ariel, voiced by Jodie Benson, is fascinated with life on land. On one of her visits to the surface, which are forbidden by her controlling father, King Triton, she falls for a human prince. Determined to be with her new love, Ariel makes a dangerous deal with the Sea Witch, Ursula, voiced by Pat Carroll, to become human for 3 days. But when plans go awry, yeah, I think I got it right, for the star-crossed lovers, the king must make the ultimate sacrifice for his daughter. So yeah, as I said, you know, I'm sure that nobody could have expected at that time how Little Mermaid would turn out, you know? And when this did come out, wow, because this blew up, and just everything about this animated gem, just so fantastic, from the storytelling, the characters, its funny and emotional moments, and the songs, for one thing. Yeah, it had some of the most memorable songs written by the late Howard Ashman and Alan Menken. But we'll come to you, Elijah. We'll come to you now. What are the first things you have to say about The Little Mermaid?
Yeah, I remember seeing this movie, years ago, on VHS, and years later I saw it on Disney Channel. And when I first saw the movie, I thought the movie was really good. I liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the concept of this film. And, you know, a woman lives underwater, and she goes to this surface world to meet this man.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy named Prince Eric.
Yep.
And, you know, Ariel has it's her tone to her in her core. Mm-hmm. And, you know, she lived in the surface world in her life, and she visits the real world because she had feet.
Yes.
And, you know, she's a mermaid, and also she's a woman.
Yes.
And I've never seen a movie like this before, which is so rare and a hidden gem. I feel like this movie was so taken beyond your possibilities, and Ariel's dreams are very, not impossible, but very, very possible, because she's a woman, yeah, and she loves Eric. And, you know, I thought the songs are very iconic, and the movie itself was so original and rare and a hidden gem for generations. You know, people love this movie because of this Disney classic. Mm-hmm. And I thought this movie was I had a feeling in my gut this movie could work for everybody, and it was a huge deal. It was a big hit. it was like, it was before Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
I love Beauty and the Beast at some point. I'm glad that I met Jodie Benson from the movie.
That's another thing, because fun fact, Elijah, and any of you who follow him on YouTube, I'm pretty sure this is on his YouTube channel, he did get to meet and interact with the voice of Ariel herself, Jodie Benson. Good for you, man.
Thanks, man. Meeting her, I mean, I watched her work in this movie and the Toy Story series, I think. Rest of the Toy Story series, the third movie.
And she was also in Enchanted.
Thank you. Thank you for correcting me.
You're welcome. Yeah. And in the Toy Story movies, like, being the voice of Barbie. So
Yeah. I remember. I want to start again, but I messed up. I'm glad that I met her. I'm blessed that I met Jodie Benson. I seen her in Toy Story 3, Toy Story 4, and Enchanted. Well, Enchanted is one of my favorite Disney movies growing up from the get-go.
Uh-huh. And like, she was Barbie in Toy Story 2, so...
Right. I'm surprised that she was in Enchanted as Sam, Patrick Dempsey's assistant.
Secretary, I think. I'm pretty sure, so...
Yeah, that too. Getting back to my conversation, the movie was it was a classic movie for families and Disney fans,
Mm.
I feel like Ariel reminds me of Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Well, they're like, I was literally about to say, like, both Ariel and Jessica Rabbit, they're both redheads, so...
Yeah, and Claire Redfield from Resident Evil.
Uh-huh.
Well, that was a good movie, but I'm not a big Resident Evil fan. But getting back to this topic, I mean, the movie was a very unique film. I mean, for Disney fans.
Uh-huh.
Well, technically, I'm a Disney fan 100%.
Me too.
I like the classic movies back from years ago. Or in fact, from decades ago. Yeah.
Continuing on, so, as I read the story and, like, description, Ariel, this 16-year-old mermaid, because fascinated about, human stuff and so on, and, she has a collection of human stuff, and even, like, say when she finds new stuff, like, a fork and a pipe, and taking them to Scuttle, the seagull, voiced by the late Buddy Hackett, who, he had previously done something else, Disney material, which being the Love Bug, with Herbie the Love Bug. So him voicing Scuttle, and him trying to figure out what those, like, human stuff is, calling a fork a dingle hopper, like, using it for their hair, and the pipe, like, I forget what he calls it, but basically, like, believing, like humans make, fine music, blah, 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 and that's when Ariel realizes, well, she missed out and forgot about this concert that she was supposed to do, and all her sisters in it as well, and, like, she was to have her, like, big solo number, and she missed out on that. And, of course, we get the introduction of Ursula the Sea Witch, who, is fascinated over Ariel, as she says, she may be the key to Triton's, blah, blah, blah. And, and thus, like, and let's come to the song numbers already. Let's go ahead and come to the song numbers, because, again, they are so well memorable, and some of the best songs from Part of Your World, Under the Sea, and Poor Unfortunate Souls. And I gotta say, fun fact about Part of Your World, because it was this close to being cut because of Jeffrey Katzenberg, who was working at Disney at the time in the animation. But, the directors, Ron Clements, John Musker, and Howard Ashman, they begged Katzenberg to have them keep that song in. I mean, Katzenberg, according to Katzenberg, a screening of the film and with Part of Your World, he noticed, like, the kids, like, were not really, I guess weren't really responding to the song, and, he felt that this song was a bore. But that's when Glenn Keane, who was, like, the lead animator for Ariel, he insisted and convinced Katzenberg that he can animate this and just make it good, you know? And thus, that's what happened. And we'd all be happy that part of your world remained part of this movie. And, even Howard Ashman said this one time, that, every, say, Disney animated movie has their, own main song, like Jiminy Cricket with When You Wish Upon a Star. So that's a good example right there. And Under the Sea, that Sebastian sings to Ariel, convincing Ariel that, the human world is a mess. Life under the sea is better than anything they got up there. So an entire song, that Sebastian sings, telling Ariel that again, convincing her that the human world is maybe not a good idea for her to be a part of, and the ocean is a much better place for her. And of course, Poor Unfortunate Souls, definitely one of the top best Disney villain songs, and for Ursula. And, because that's when Ursula, Ariel makes a deal with Ursula, to have human legs and to be human. And that whole song that Ursula sings, and, those who have made deals with Ursula, you name it. But we'll come to you, Elijah. What are the first things you have to say about, the songs of Little Mermaid?
Ooh, I would have to say, me personally, I really like Under the Sea. I feel like I hear that song, in my head right now.
I mean, it's catchy, so that's understandable.
Yeah. I feel like the songs are very iconic. Howard Ashman did a fantastic job throughout the soundtrack of the film, and I've been a fan of his work since Beauty and the Beast. His score, his movie score.
Yep.
And these guys are very iconic.
Yeah,
legendary.
And just quickly, right before they did Little Mermaid, they were best known for their work and such on Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, I saw that movie as we speak. And getting back to this topic.
Yes, about Poor Unfortunate Souls, and and Under the Sea. Sorry, so.
Yeah, I really like. It's funny. I really love Sebastian is my favorite character in The Little Mermaid. He's Jamaican.
Yeah, that was and fun fact, that was Howard Ashman's request. Why? He was like, why not make him Jamaican? So.
I think of I think of the idea of Sebastian has family. Cousins like Mr. Krabs and Larry the Lobster from SpongeBob. But yeah, I feel like the reason why he's my favorite Disney character, because he is very smart, he's very intelligent, he's very naive and common and
Other songs that almost forgetting, of course, another pretty good song from Chef Louis, Les Poissons, how I love Les Poissons, the chef's own song number, and of course, can't forget about this one, Kiss the Girl. That's another memorable song from The Little Mermaid. Sebastian and all the, creatures, in the river, I want to say,
in the boat.
In the what?
In the boat scene I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, that. All of them singing the song and convincing Eric to kiss Ariel, and yeah, and of course, Eric, he's not really ready for this, and he does find out, Ariel's name, and by the way, because another thing about the film as well, because of Ariel making the deal to Ursula, she gets the human legs and such, but in exchange, Ursula gets to have Ariel's voice. So, Ariel not able to speak to Eric, and, Ariel asking, without my voice, how will I? And Ursula saying, you have your looks, your pretty face. And yeah, that's true. But yeah, and also a couple other stuff a little bit earlier in the film, because yeah, when Sebastian just can't help it anymore, he tells King Triton about Ariel and her encounter with humans, that pisses off King Triton, and him discovering her daughter's collection and, you know, destroying it angrily. And I do like this. Like, after all that happens, because, you know, and as Ariel sobs, you know, we do see a look on King Triton's face where, you know what, he does feel guilty about this, and he knew that he kind of took it too far, so... And, yeah, and thus, you know, when the two eels come in, Flotsam and Jetsam, yeah, that's when, yeah, they take Ariel to see Ursula, and thus, you know, the deal is made. And, yeah, throughout the rest of the film, because, again, Ariel has 3 days, and thus Ariel being with Eric and, you know, living in his, you know, castle, and, you know, the funny stuff that happens, like with, again, Sebastian in the kitchen and with Chef Louis, and being voiced by Odo himself from Deep Space Nine, Renee. Do you remember how his last name is pronounced?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay, I mean, bear with me, guys, because you know me and how I sometimes have troubles pronouncing mostly last names. But anyways, and even like this is a funny moment where, you know, Ariel sees a fork and thinks it's a dinglehopper, using it to do her hair, and the look on Eric and Grimsby's faces is funny. And when Ariel notices that Grimsby has a pipe and using it, like thinking she's gonna make music, but instead blows the smoke in Grimsby's face. And by the way, because Sir Grimsby, being voiced by the late Ben Wright. Ben Wright had previously done other voice work for other Disney animation gems. He was the voice of Roger in 101 Dalmatians, and the voice of Romert. I don't know if I'm saying that name right, but the Mowgli's adoptive father, Wolf, you know, from the Jungle Book. In fact, I read this. Ben Wright had to remind the people at Disney that he had done voice work for Disney, and when Walt Disney was still alive. So yeah, like it's like they forgot who he was. Like they forgot he had worked with the company before. Just thought I'd point that out. And that The Little Mermaid would be Ben Wright's last film before he would sadly pass away. So. But anyways, and also, not to mention, the voice of Flotsman Jetsam, the late Patty Edwards, I recognize her. She was the voice of Gozer in Ghostbusters, and she had a guest appearance in an episode of Season 2 of Star Trek The Next Generation. So, yeah. Anyways, so, and like on the second day, Eric taking Ariel on a tour of his kingdom, and, you know, that whole scene where, you know, Eric and Ariel are on the carriage and exploring the town, and Ariel, like, spots Judy, like, you know, the puppet performance of Judy and what's that other puppet's name? And Ariel at one point taking over the carriage, and it's pretty funny. And of course, the Kiss the Girl sequence, which I talked about, and thus Ursula is determined to, like, prevent from Ariel and Eric kissing, and thus, because Ursula has Ariel's voice in that necklace, oyster shell that she has, I think that's what it's called, I don't know, you know, she transforms herself in disguise as Vanessa, and on that night, after at one point Grimsby has some word of advice for Eric, and Eric, because he plays the flute, you know, he at one point threw it out in the water. And by the way, because more on, say, Eric, like, actually, because, yeah, Prince Eric being voiced by Christopher Daniel, he was actually, I believe he was in his teen years when he voiced Eric, and geez, like, He for sure had a good voice for Eric, you know, sounding like an adult. So that's interesting.
That was rare. That was very rare. I was listening, but that was very, very rare. I thought he was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. One of the cartoons and stuff like that.
Well, anyways, and also Flounder. Didn't talk about Flounder that much. Flounder was voiced by Jason Marin, who Jason Marin had an appearance in the first Back to the Future film as, you know, the kid that, you know, when McFly crashes into the barn, you know, you know, that ain't no airplane, Paul. Look, that's him. Yeah. And I almost forgot to mention that sequence where Ariel first discovers Eric, you know, a big celebration's happening. Well, it's his birthday, and that statue that Grimsby had surprised Eric with, and that statue that King Triton had destroyed when he destroyed Ariel's collection, and that whole scene where, you know, hurricane a-comin', and the boat crashes, and Ariel does at one point save Eric, and, you know, and another rendition of Part of Your World. So there's, with that out of the way, also, because, yeah, on the third and final day, because, you know, Scuttle gives Ariel the news that, you know, seems like Eric is going to get married and supposedly to Ariel, but of course, you know, Ariel and Sebastian, they discover that, you know, basically Eric, who's, you know, hypnotized under a spell because of Ursula, you know, Eric is marrying Ursula in disguise as Vanessa, and, oh, and by the way, shout out to my mom, because Ursula is one of her favorite Disney villains. You know, not to mention, my mom's name is Vanessa. Yeah, so that I guess you could say that's a coincidence. I don't know, but
beautiful name for a mother. Actually,
that's very kind of you to say. But yeah, so so with that happening, because, you know, Eric is to be married to Ursula, as I said, in disguise as Vanessa. A very, you know, sad moment where Ariel, believing that, you know, because, you know, Eric is not going to be with Ariel and stuff like that. And that's so good. Like, you know, Sebastian, he feels very sorry for Ariel, but especially Flounder, how much of a good friend he is to Ariel and how he sheds a tear as well, you know. And Scuttle, you know, good old Scuttle does discover, you know, Vanessa, and in the mirror, it's not Vanessa's reflection, it's Ursula's reflection. And yeah, Scuttle warning Ariel and Sebastian and Flounder about this, and, you know, the prince has married the Sea Witch, and that's when, you know, Ariel, Flounder, they make their way to the boat, and Sebastian, he's gonna inform the king about this, and he tells Scuttle to, like, stall the wedding, and thus Scuttle, you know, he gets all of, like, say, the sea creatures, you know, we have an emergency here, and yeah, that whole that scene where, you know, the wedding crash was funny, and Jodie Benson, because yeah, obviously because, you know, Ursula has Ariel's voice, Jodie Benson also voices Vanessa. But we'll come to you, Elijah. Like, is there anything like you want to say on like the whole like wedding crash thing? Anything, you know, at that moment?
Oh God, it was like the animals gone. I was gonna say this: the animals gone rogue on Ursula / Vanessa.
Well, I don't think they gone rogue, but you know,
like I'm saying that like they gone berserk. Well, rogue berserk is the same thing.
Okay.
Anyway,
okay.
Like I said, all the animals gone berserk on Ursula / Vanessa,
right?
Especially
right.
Max the dog.
Max the dog, yeah.
I mean, like, Max is an old English sheepdog,
and you know, because earlier, because like Max was growling at Vanessa, and gosh, Vanessa kicking Max in the face, and boy, Max for sure got her back by biting her on the butt.
Oh my God, that's like animal. That's like an animal cruelty from kicking a dog like that.
Yeah,
it's like.
But as I said, Max got a sweet revenge, like again biting her right on the butt. So.
Yeah, I mean, I love dogs because I feel like Max is very loyal to Ariel.
Oh yeah.
But she's I think in my point of view, because she's a princess. Because, princess loves animals, like dogs, horses, cats, birds. squirrels,
It's like,
stuff
you know,
that.
like Snow White, Jasmine, Aurora, Cinderella. Yeah, so...
Forgot Belle as well.
Yeah, Belle, yeah, Belle with say, Philippe, so...
Right,
yeah.
Right. But getting back to this story, yeah, I remember the wedding scene. I remember everything. I was listening the whole time. The wedding scene was like crazy. I mean, crazy, out of control. You know, all Ariel's friends gone berserk.
Yeah.
Rogue,
well, I mean, again,
nonstop.
Again, they're like helping, like, you know, take on Ursula and like stall the wedding and stuff like that.
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
Finding Nemo. You know the scene where the fish tank, you know, Nemo's about to go flush in the toilet, and Pelican pretty much enters and stuff like that. Crazy stuff is crazy stuff's happening and stuff like that. Yeah. But
and then Gil like jumps on Darla's head, that too. So
yeah.
But continuing with The Little Mermaid, I would like to point this out. Like apparently, like on the boat and with the wedding, because we apparently get cameos of, say, the King and the Duchess, like from, you know, Cinderella. They're apparently there, like as cameos, Easter egg that is. And so yeah. Ariel does get her voice back when Ursula's necklace, like, you know, comes off and it breaks, and thus, you know, she got her voice back, and it seems like they're almost about to kiss, Eric and Ariel, but when the sun sets, boom, she turns back into a mermaid, and, you know, Ursula turning back into herself, snatching Ariel, and that's when Sebastian, and along with King Triton, step in. Ursula, stop! And, you know, I feel like bringing this up, because... With all the mentionings of what happened with Ursula and her being banished from the Atlantic Palace, you know, I mean, they never really talk about her backstory. They just give, like, say, a little bit of it, I should say. I mean, it'd be very interesting to know her backstory, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so, yeah, basically just Ursula is just wanting to take the throne and, you know, is forcing King Triton to sign a contract and, you know, to spare his daughter, basically. And Eric, you know, he does at one point, you know, goes out on a boat to go save Ariel. I lost her once, Grimsby. I'm not going to lose her again. And King Triton, he signs the contract, and thus, you know... He turns into those, whatever the heck they're called, like, disturbing, like, plants or whatever, you know, and the same thing happened with some other mermaids. But, yeah, now Ursula has the Triton, and even, like, takes King Triton's crown. And, you know, Eric, you know, saving Ariel, Flotsman, Jetsam, like, they were, like... pulling Eric back into the ocean, like Sebastian and Flounder save Eric, and Ursula was this close to killing Eric with the Triton, but of course, when Ariel pulls Ursula's hair, well, it hits Flotsam and Jetsam, they're killed, and yeah, that's when Ursula is one pissed off sea witch.
She, I agree with you, but she's really pissed off. She's not playing. She is like...
Yes.
It's like, you know what? I had it with this bitch. I'm going to kill her.
Exactly.
I'm going to kill her ass, literally.
And thus, you know, she grows bigger. And even, like, say, you see the look on Flounder and Sebastian's face, and when, you know, she grows bigger and bigger, and, you know, like, you pitiful, insignificant fools, and I am the ruler of all the ocean. And that's when she even, like with the Triton, like, raises, like, sunken ships, and Eric, like, steers one of the ships and ramming it right into Ursula. Like, gosh, Ursula's death is a very gruesome death, I should say.
Yeah. I think of that. I mean, I talked about the villain. You know,
right?
She's like, I think of Ursula. She's like a badass villain. Like she's an OG badass villain.
Yeah.
But, you know, this part that you're telling, I'm not gonna lie, she's one bad bitch, and she's a one bad bitch, like a badass.
I know,
And
yeah.
And she, I don't know
And
why
she's,
I don't mean to cut you off, sorry.
Well, I don't mean to cut you off either, but she is one of the top best Disney villains for sure.
I agree. You know, I think of that scenario, that situation, you know, I don't mean to call her bitch or anything like that, but you know, the thing is, she's kind of like this level of Cruella.
Yeah.
Cruella de Vil. She's like a cousin to Cruella de Vil, I think.
I don't know.
You know, the thing is about that character, you know, I really like Ursula personally. I think when I remember the scene that she's gone wild. She's gone like a mad dog.
I do like I do like that sometimes with some Disney villains where it's at this point they've just completely just gone mad and they show their true colors, you know.
Yeah, and the thing is about I gotta add, I mean I like that idea that you said. And you know, like Disney villains gone berserk. Well, they gone rogue because they got mad after the situation goes wrong, or even the deal has gone bad.
Yeah.
And their feelings gonna get a lot worse. They're gonna get pissed off, worse, rogue, even fate worse than death.
Yeah.
And you know, I remember seeing Aladdin. You know, the genie becomes God, and it failed.
Yeah.
And Gaston tried to kill the beast. He failed. It's like a failure to the villain. So
yep.
I felt bad for them.
Yeah. But
I felt super bad.
Yeah. But continuing and to speed things up, you know, after Ursula's death and all the mermaids, you know, freed from, you know, Ursula's, you know, lair, and the same goes for King Triton, like, you know, that's when King Triton, like, he does see it that, you know, Ariel does truly love Eric, and, you know, I'd like to point this out very quickly, like, people, you know, I know this, like, I've heard some people say this, that people have, what they said about Ariel, like, you know, she gets what she wants at the end of the movie. Now, in my opinion, like, look, like, it was love at first sight for Ariel when she saw Eric for the first time. Like, come on, like, okay. And I don't know, like, you know, and I think especially, like, throughout the rest of the movie when she got to meet and be with Eric and throughout those three days, like, you know, definitely, like, that's when, you know, she got to know more of Eric and stuff like that. But, you know, and besides, before she met Eric, you know, she had always been fascinated about humans and the human world and, you know, always been curious, like, what if I was a human, you know, stuff like that. So, I don't know. I understand, and say what you will, but I'm just saying, like, I just thought I'd voice my opinion, you know. But anyways, so, yeah, the epilogue to The Little Mermaid, well, because, you know, King Triton, he says, you know, like, there's just one problem left, and Sebastian's saying, and what's that, Your Majesty? How much I'm going to miss her. And he gives Ariel human legs, she becomes a human, and thus Ariel and Eric, they're together at last, and they get married, and, you know, peace between, like, say, the humans and mermaids, like, yeah, because that, and even, you know, Chef Louis is not through with Sebastian, but of course Sebastian finishes Louis, pretty funny, like, knocks his teeth out, and, you know, Ariel saying her goodbyes to Flounder, Scuttle, Sebastian, and especially her father, you know, and Ariel getting the last line of the film, I love you, Daddy. She says that in beautifully emotional, you know, and, of course, Eric and King Triton meeting face-to-face, and, yeah, Eric bowing to King Triton, and, you know, thus the boat's, you know, sails off, King Triton creates a rainbow, and, yeah, one last rendition of Part of Your World, and what a perfect way to end the film, and one last shot of Ariel and Eric kissing, yeah. What a great way to end the film. I gotta say, The Little Mermaid, what a true Disney animated gem this is. No doubt about it. This is what started the Disney Renaissance and what would come next in the later years, from Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and The Lion King, you name it. Just everything about The Little Mermaid is so memorable. As I said, the characters, the storytelling, and, of course, the songs, with its funny moments and emotional moments, you name it. And do you have any last words to say on The Little Mermaid?
The movie was really good. The movie is I messed up. The movie was really good. It was very unique, beyond, and very emotional and fun, and really unique, originally fun Disney movie I've ever seen in my entire life. I liked it a lot.
Right. And how do we rate The Little Mermaid? We'll start with you.
Ooh, I would have to say, this is going to be hard, I would say 8 out of 10.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. For me, what the heck, it's on my mind. I'm giving it 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 stars for The Little Mermaid. Because, again, as I said, this is a Disney animation gem, without a doubt. And what about you guys? What do you think of The Little Mermaid itself? And what did you think of our review? Leave comments and give this review a like as always. And any last words and saying goodbye?
Well, as I know we haven't done movie reviews for a while, and I feel like Eli and I reunited, but I would like to say thank you for watching our video, and
yes,
hope you watch us in the near future.
Exactly. We will be doing more review collabs down the road, and thank you very much, Elijah, for joining me for this.
Anytime, my good friend, anytime.
Yes, you too. For me, we hope you've enjoyed our review of The Little Mermaid. More reviews coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward. We'll see you guys in the next video/review. And of course, The Little Mermaid week is still continuing. And later tonight, well, going to be reviewing the first sequel. Take care, and peace out.